Coming up on Gridiron Sports Talk, it's football season. We talk about deaf people in football. All that and much more. Stay on the gridiron. Gridiron Sports Talk is next. Stay tuned. Welcome to this edition of Gridiron Sports Talk, the one and only program that focuses on sports and all sports, and despite your disability, we focus on abilities in sports. Staying on the gridiron, this is Gridiron Sports Talk. I'm Lauren Seiler. Arlene couldn't be here today. On this topic of Gridiron Sports Talk, it's football season, and we talk about deaf NFL players and deaf people in football. Let's begin. Playing the game of football can be rough and tumble, with a 75% chance of a concussion. In fact, professional football players can expect to get hit in the head 900 to 1,500 times over the course of a season, with each impact speed up to 25 miles per hour. This type of blunt trauma to the head can cause the ear to swell, increase the amount of fluid within the ear, build up an internal pressure, and easily cause hearing loss. Through hearing loss, it can be all too common side effect of playing aggressive football. Some deaf NFL players have learned to cope with hearing loss and succeed within the professional game. The first one is Bonnie Sloan. Bonnie Sloan came to the game with known hearing loss and fought an uphill battle to get on any team, even his high school football team. He bravely made the St. Louis Cardinals, but he never made it in the news as a deaf NFL player. Instead, he paved the way for future deaf players that proved that hard work, deafness did not need to be a disability. Larry Brown, the first NFL player with a documented hearing loss, was Washington Redskins player Larry Brown. His coach noticed that he wouldn't tilt his head to be closer to sounds and walk closely to the other players to hear what they were trying to say to him. Once he completed a hearing test and confirmed he was deaf in one ear, his helmet was fitted with a hearing aid, and he wears it on and off the field as well. Kenny Walker. Kenny Walker experienced spinal meningitis at age 2 and suffered hearing loss as a side effect. He excelled at the University of Nebraska. Hold on a second. He excelled at the University of Nebraska with pass rushing and grew an avid fan base. Even after retiring from the sport, Walker remains dedicated to improving the lives of children who are deaf in experiencing hearing loss, and even acts as a translator within the professional football world. Flozell Adams. Flozell Adams. Flozell Adams of the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers experienced left ear hearing loss during his time in the NFL. He turned his body to have a strong right ear facing the quarterback, so he understood what was happening. With a sudden departure from the Cowboys, many questioned whether or not Many question whether or not his hearing loss played a role in the separation. Derek Coleman, the most recent NFL player, is Derek Coleman of the Seattle Seahawks. He made major news as the team triumphed in the Super Bowl. Since both of his parents were born with the missing hearing gene, Coleman lost his hearing early in life, but but that did not stop him. While wearing hearing aids, he also wore a tight cap and as a barrier for his helmet. He can read lips and uses this skill in succeeding in the game. Off the field, he is an advocate for children with disabilities and works to ensure everyone is treated no matter no matter the hearing level. Many athletes were born with or eventually experience hearing loss, but that hasn't stopped these NFL deaf players. So let's go back to Derek Coleman. This comes from CNN Health, www.cnn.com. Derek Coleman, the deaf Super Bowl champion, that broke the sound barrier. Okay. When you meet Derek Coleman Jr., the first word that comes to mind is genuine. The list does not stop there. Throw in appreciative, funny, kind, and impressive, and all of that is even when you even realize Coleman is a rising star in the National Football League, who also happens to be deaf. On a scale from 0 to 10, normal range is about 7, 8, or 9, Coleman says. Without my hearing aids, I'm about 1 or 2. On the football field, you will never know Coleman likes it that way. One of his favorite memories is being on a boat with his friends at the lake. They push him at the lake, and even Coleman has his hearing aids, but he wasn't upset. The fact that he was just the opposite. In that moment, his friends had forgotten he was wearing hearing aids. They forgot he was deaf. According to Coleman, football basically gave him a sense of understanding of where he stands in this world. Coleman said, and it has made me in the world a lot better. In between those white lines, it's all that matters. Coleman said it led to his performance on the field, and you do the talking. Everyone started listening. By the time he was a freshman in high school, he was on the varsity team. If you have a disability, this is from a quote from Coleman. If you have a disability and you're letting that disability affect your performance, you make excuses, Coleman said. Football was the first thing where I didn't want to make excuses. I just wanted to play. And the last thing, Coleman started the No Excuse Foundation to help kids dealing with disabilities. People say that you're an inspiration by the things you do, Coleman said. And I tell them you can be an inspiration too, just by being yourself. You don't need to be me. You don't need to be anybody else. Just be who you are. Now I'm going to go into something else. Okay. Deaf people changed the football game, changed the sport of football. In 1894, the Gallaudet is a deaf college. Gallaudet University football team was playing against another team. Paul Hubbard, the quarterback, didn't want to risk the other team seeing him use American Sign Language to explain why the teammates use it. So he asked them to form a tight circle formation, now known as a huddle. Um, and okay, so um, Bonnie Sloan. Let's get to Bonnie Sloan. Now this is according to a blog online called Deaf Defined. Um, Bonnie Walker, who's the original guy who, I'm sorry, bon- Bonnie Sloan, who played in the St. Louis Cardinals in 1973 as defensive tackle for the NFL. Unfortunately, his fame was short-lived due to a knee injury that ultimately inhibited him from playing another season. But his inspiration lives on in deaf athletes around the country. These three, um, these three football players, including fullback Derek Coleman, who signed with the Arizona Cardinals in 2018. Coleman has been deaf since age 3 years old and played on the UCLA team in college. In addition to the Cardinals, Coleman has played for the Atlanta Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks. Um, and Kenny Walker also became deaf from meningitis. He signed with the Denver Broncos in 1991 and was a regular on the field, starting in all 4 games that season. Walker then played a season of Canadian football and on the Canadian Football League. His stint was assistant coach of Gallaudet University. Now I'm gonna just go into what Gallaudet University is. Okay. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, Gallaudet University is the world's only highest institution specifically for deaf and hard of hearing students, offering a barrier-free environment for hard of hearing students and professionals. Founded in 1864 by Edward Minor Gallaudet and Amos Kendall, this federally chartered university in Washington, D.C. has been the leader in deaf education and sports and advocacy for over 150 years. Gallaudet provides various degree programs um, and services, including opportunities for people to learn American Sign Language, ASL, and as well as and is home to the Deaf President Now protest movement. Gallaudet University is a comprehensive educational resource for the deaf and hard of hearing individuals and their families, youth, and professionals. The university is designed to be barrier free, which includes its on-campus programs and services to accommodate its deaf and hard of hearing community. Founded in 1864, Gallaudet was a pioneer in the field of deaf education and has a significant role in the deaf rights movement. Gallaudet offers 150-degree credentials along with online programs and youth programs for students among students from middle school to postgraduate. It also provides resources and learning for ASL. The last thing is the Deaf President Now movement in 1888, a pivotal protest known as Deaf President Now occurred when the university board selected a hearing president, sparking a successful student and faculty demand for a deaf president. And the last thing, Gallaudet offers 150-degree credentials and online programs. And their website for Gallaudet University is, let me go to that quickly. Okay, Gallaudet University can be found at, if you want to find out more information about Gallaudet University and Deaf University in Washington, D.C., you can go to www.gallaudetuniversity.edu. That's Gallaudet, GALLAUDET.edu, Gallaudet.edu. And this puts an end to this edition of Gridiron Sports Talk. Having sports on the gridiron, despite your disability, we focus on abilities in sports. This has been Deaf People in Football, and also about education and many other things that we talked about today. You can go to www.orcamedia.net. I'm Lawrence Seiler. See you next time.